Did you know that certain everyday habits, ones that seem harmless, might actually be speeding up your aging process? The reality is, many behaviors we once relied on to stay efficient or feel safe can slowly chip away at our well-being, mental sharpness, and independence as we get older. And yet, no one really talks about them. By the time we notice, the damage has often already crept in. Stiff joints, low energy, forgotten plans, and a subtle but painful sense of disappointment or embarrassment. In this video, we'll explore 6 surprising habits you might want to let go of after 70, not because someone told you to, but because giving them up could open the door to a more active, confident, and fulfilling life. These aren't vague suggestions or unrealistic ideals. These are common routines that many older adults fall into without realizing, and shifting them could help you feel more like yourself again. Stick around until the end. You'll likely recognize a few of these patterns in your own life, and you'll walk away with simple, realistic strategies to start making positive changes today. If you haven't already, now's the perfect time to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos. Your support helps us continue creating helpful, uplifting content for people just like you. Now let's dive in. Number 1. Avoiding muscle-strengthening activities. Of the most common mistakes after 70 is believing that it's safer to slow down and avoid physical effort. And it makes sense at first glance. Your joints may feel stiffer, your balance might feel a bit shaky, and lifting anything heavier than a grocery bag might seem risky. So many older adults begin scaling back their movement, thinking that rest equals protection. But the truth is this: skipping muscle-focused activity is one of the fastest ways to lose freedom, mobility, and independence. Muscles don't just help you move, they're essential to your survival. After 70, natural muscle loss, known as sarcopenia, accelerates dramatically unless we actively resist it. And resisting it doesn't mean joining a gym or training like a bodybuilder. It simply means keeping your muscles engaged. Modest forms of resistance, like using your body weight, light dumbbells, or resistance bands, can provide incredible benefits. The secret isn't intensity, it's consistency and purpose. Every time you stand from a chair without using your hands, carry a bag, climb stairs, or reach for something overhead, you're relying on those muscles. And every time you don't use them, they quietly weaken. Let me tell you about Gilbert. At 82, he avoided nearly all forms of exercise. Years earlier, he'd taken a minor fall, and since then he'd grown fearful, afraid of pushing himself, afraid of falling again. So he spent more time on the couch, short walks, light chores, nothing that felt risky. But something changed. One morning, he struggled to lift himself from the couch without pushing off with his hands. That scared him. So he started small. Wall push-ups, light resistance bands, a few squats while holding the kitchen counter. Within a few weeks, he felt steadier. Within a couple months, he was lifting grocery bags without a second thought. And, for the first time in years, he said, "I feel strong again." Gilbert didn't reclaim his youth. He reclaimed control. So if you've been avoiding strength-focused movement, ask yourself, is it really protecting you, or is it slowly limiting you? He stuck to routines that felt safe, slow walks, light chores. But after a visit to a physical therapist, Gilbert discovered something surprising. Being inactive was causing more harm than movement ever could. So he started small, just 5 minutes a day of simple strength exercises. Nothing fancy. Standing up from a chair without using his arms, lifting soup cans instead of weights, practicing balance by standing on one foot next to the kitchen counter. In just 2 months, his legs felt stronger, but more importantly, his confidence returned. There's something deeply empowering about moving your body with intention. It's not just about staying mobile, it's about reclaiming self-respect. It's about walking through a store without holding onto a cart. Rising from bed without hesitation. Lowering yourself to the floor to play with your grandchild, and knowing you'll be able to get back up. Strength gives you that freedom, and here's the truth. It doesn't take hours a day. Just a handful of consistent basic movements can begin restoring what time and inactivity try to take away. Most people don't talk about this because muscle loss is sneaky. It doesn't come with pain, at least not at first. It shows up quietly. You start losing your breath faster. Stairs feel steeper. You find yourself leaning heavily on your arms just to stand up. But here's the good news. The earlier you notice it, the easier it is to reverse. And it's never too late to start. You don't need a gym. You don't need fancy equipment. What you do need is a decision that maintaining your strength matters more than playing it safe. Number 2, eating. The same way you did in your 40s, another silent habit that can hold you back after 70, eating like you're still in your 40s. It's a common trap. Same portions, same meal times, same comfort foods, repeated week after week. It feels familiar. It's part of your rhythm, and for decades, it may have worked just fine. But here's the truth. Your body is running on a different operating system now. Your metabolism has slowed down. Digestion may not be as smooth. Your body's nutritional needs have shifted. Yet many people continue eating out of routine rather than true hunger, and that quiet habit can lead to creeping weight gain, sluggish energy, and unstable blood sugar. After 70, every meal matters more than ever. You may not need as much food as you used to, but your body needs better food. Smarter food. Think. Nutrient-dense, easy-to-digest meals that fuel your bones, your brain, and your energy levels. That means easing up on large portions of heavy meats, refined carbs, or processed snacks, and instead leaning into smaller, balanced meals filled with fiber-rich vegetables, lean protein, healthy fats, and hydrating fruits. It's not about restriction. It's about nourishment. It's not about going hungry. It's about giving your body the support it truly needs now. It needs now, not what it needed decades ago. Take Scarlett, for example. She's 75 and had never really overthought her meals. 3 generous servings a day, just as she'd always done. It was routine, familiar. But gradually, she began to notice changes. After dinner, she often felt bloated. Her afternoon energy dipped. Her clothes didn't fit quite the same. She wasn't doing anything wrong, but something was clearly off. Her doctor didn't scold her. Instead, he offered a gentle shift in perspective. Slightly reduce her portions, add more vegetables, and most importantly, start listening to her body's natural signals of fullness. Within a month, Scarlett didn't just lose a few pounds, she woke up. Her energy lifted, her sleep deepened, and she said something unexpected. She felt more emotionally balanced, clearer, calmer, even lighter in her spirit. This isn't about dieting. It's about aligning with the version of yourself you are now. Just as you wouldn't wear shoes. From your 30s, your body's nutritional needs deserve an update too. With age comes wisdom, and that includes how we fuel ourselves. Eating a bit less isn't about deprivation. It's about precision. It's about giving your body what it truly needs, while trimming away the extra that only slows you down. When your meals are balanced, intentional, and responsive to your current needs, your body returns the favor, with better energy, sharper thinking, and a more stable mood. And here's something we don't say enough. It's completely okay to create new eating habits in this chapter of life. It's not a loss. It's an act of care. You're not giving up joy. You're building a healthier, more respectful relationship with food. You're discovering what actually satisfies you, what keeps you going, what makes you feel alive, not sluggish. That kind of insight is powerful. If this is resonating with you, drop a number 2 in the comments below. I'd love to know you're with us. And if you haven't yet, now's a perfect time to subscribe and hit the bell so you won't miss what's coming next. Your support means the world, and it helps us keep making thoughtful content just for you. Number 3, withdrawing from. Social connection after 70. Slipping into isolation can happen more quietly than you'd think. You might go out less, cancel plans more often. Start telling yourself that staying home is just easier. Sometimes it's physical. You're tired, achy, or worried about getting around. Other times it's emotional. Maybe you feel like you don't have much to contribute anymore. Maybe fewer people check in, or invitations stop coming. So you slowly pull back. You tell yourself the quiet is nice, that you're content. But somewhere inside, there's a flicker of something missing. The reality is that social isolation can have serious effects on your health. Loneliness isn't just a passing emotion, it's a real health risk. Studies have shown that chronic lack of social connection in older adults can contribute to depression, cognitive decline, and even a higher risk of heart-related issues. The truth is, your brain needs connection to thrive. When conversations and interactions fade, the mind tends to turn inward, and not always in healthy ways. But casual chats, shared laughter, or even a 5-minute phone call? These are like workouts for your brain. They keep you sharp, emotionally grounded, and remind you that your presence still matters deeply. Let me introduce you to Sylvia. She's 80. After her husband passed, she slowly withdrew from her social world. At first, she told herself she just needed space. But what started as a few quiet months turned into years of solitude. Her thoughts became foggy. Days blurred together. Her motivation to do even small things started to slip. It was her daughter who suggested a simple change. A weekly senior yoga class. Not for fitness, just for a change of scenery. Sylvia was hesitant, but she went. And what surprised her most wasn't the stretches or the movements. It was the connection. The gentle chatter before class. The laughter afterward. Hearing about someone else's week. That small dose of togetherness lit something back up in her. A feeling she hadn't even realized she missed. Now, this doesn't mean you need to dive into crowded events or join every club. Staying socially connected can be as simple as a weekly call with a friend, a walk with a neighbor, a coffee group at your church, or even joining a virtual class or online book club. These small acts are like emotional nutrients. They nourish your spirit and gently remind you, you're not alone and you still matter. The tricky part? Isolation can feel deceptively safe. It's quiet, predictable. But there's a difference between enjoying solitude and slowly slipping into disconnection. One refuels you. The other slowly drains you. You have so much to offer, your life experiences, your compassion, your laughter. Others are lifted by your presence, even if they don't always say it out loud, and when you reach out, it may be the very reminder someone else needed too. Number 4. Brushing off minor health issues. One of the riskiest habits after 70 is downplaying small recurring health symptoms because they seem minor or you've felt it before. Maybe it's a little dizziness, or some mild chest pressure, or a slight but persistent cough that probably isn't anything. You tell yourself it'll pass. You don't want to make a fuss. Or worse, you've gotten used to discomfort and think that's just part of getting older. But here's the truth. Small symptoms can be early signals, and ignoring them can lead to major consequences. Know you're still with us. Your voice matters, and so does your health. It's easy to feel like we're bothering people by speaking up, but you are never a burden for advocating for your own well-being. In fact, it's an act of wisdom, one that could preserve your independence, your peace of mind, and your ability to enjoy the moments that matter most. So, if something feels different, even slightly, talk to someone. Make the appointment. Ask the question. You don't have to wait until it becomes a crisis. Remember, your body whispers before it shouts. The sooner you listen, the more power you have to respond. Number 5. Sticking rigidly to routine. Now, let's talk about something that feels comforting but can quietly limit your growth after 70. Getting stuck in an unchanging routine. Don't get me wrong, routines can be incredibly grounding. They provide stability, especially during times of transition. But there's a difference between having structure and letting every day look exactly the same. The same breakfast, the same walk, the same television shows, the same conversations. Over time, too much sameness can actually dull your curiosity, your mental agility, and your sense of aliveness. You stop trying new things, not because you don't want to, but because it's just easier to do what you've always done. But life, after 70, isn't meant to be a loop. It's meant to be a continuation, a chapter where you decide what to explore, rediscover, or even reinvent. Let me tell you about Joan. At 74, her days were perfectly predictable. Coffee at 7, crosswords at 9, lunch at noon. And although nothing was wrong, she started to feel flat, as if life had lost its color. Her granddaughter asked her one simple question. "Grandma, what's something you've never done that you've always wanted to try?" Joan paused, then laughed. "I've never painted." So they signed up for a casual community art class, not because she wanted to be an artist, but because she wanted to feel awake again, and it worked. The new experience sparked conversations, friendships, and a different kind of joy she didn't realize she was missing. Small changes, like trying a new recipe, visiting a local museum, or learning a few words in another language, can reawaken your brain and spirit. Novelty isn't just for the young, it's fuel for everyone. So ask yourself, when's the last time you tried something new? If the answer doesn't come easily, that's your invitation. Mental space, and gives you more energy to focus on what truly matters: connection, creativity, and enjoying life without the constant worry of, what did I forget? There's a quiet kind of stress that builds up when your brain is constantly juggling tasks, dates, and reminders. That stress doesn't always show up as anxiety. It can appear as fatigue, irritability, or even just a vague sense of unease. By writing things down, you give your mind permission to rest. You create room for peace. Think of it like this. If a pilot uses a checklist before every flight, not because they're inexperienced, but because lives are at stake, why wouldn't we use a checklist for our lives, especially when our health and well-being depend on it? You've spent a lifetime gathering wisdom and experience. Tools like lists, calendars, or alarms don't subtract from that wisdom. They support it. So if this idea resonates with you, drop a number 5 in the comments. We'd love to know which habit hits home for you most so far. And now let's wrap up with number 6. Believing that growth is behind you. One of the most quietly damaging beliefs that can take root after 70 is the idea that personal growth has an expiration date, that you're supposed to have it all figured out by now, or worse, that it's too late to change, try, or become something new. But that belief couldn't be further from the truth. Growth isn't limited to the young. In fact, later life growth is often deeper, more reflective, and more rewarding because it's chosen, not expected. You're not done. You're evolving. Let me introduce you to Helen. At 79, she told her friend, "I think my best years are behind me." She'd lost her husband. Her kids lived far away, and her days felt repetitive. But one day, she came across an online course on storytelling. She'd always loved books, but had never thought of herself as a writer. She took the class, hesitantly at first, and then something clicked. Memories she hadn't visited in years began surfacing. She started writing every morning, sharing pieces with her neighbors. Eventually, she self-published a memoir, not because she wanted to be famous, but because she finally felt seen. Helen didn't reinvent herself. She reclaimed a part of herself that had been waiting. So what about you? What's something you've always wanted to try but convinced yourself it was too late? Learning an instrument? Starting a blog? Volunteering somewhere meaningful? Traveling somewhere new? As long as you are breathing, you are becoming. The end of one chapter is simply the start of another, and sometimes the final chapters are the most beautiful of all. Let's recap the 6 habits to rethink after 70. Avoiding muscle-strengthening activity, eating the way you did in your 40s, withdrawing from social connection, brushing off minor health issues. Depending on memory instead of writing things down, believing that growth is behind you, each of these habits might feel small on their own, but together they shape your quality of life. And the good news is, every one of them is within your power to shift. You don't need to overhaul your entire lifestyle. Just begin with one small choice in a new direction, and let that momentum carry you forward. If this video spoke to you, leave a comment with the number that resonated most. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you're always up to date on content designed just for you. You've come so far, and there is still so much joy, strength, and meaning ahead. Let's keep moving forward together.